Hello folks, hope you're doing well. Now, here's the thing. I am not a Sith Lord in that I deal in absolutes when it comes to giving advice. I believe there are quite a few ways to do things and quite a few routes to get into the industry and techniques, 100 ways to skin a cat, all that sort of stuff. However, in this video, I'm going against that. There are things that you shouldn't do in your portfolio in terms of it being effective, even if it looks good. So in this video, I'm going to give you the things from each job role for 3D art, roughly each job role that I believe you shouldn't be doing. Very controversial, I know. And things that, even if they're good, when they get seen in a portfolio review, it's like an eye roll. It's like, oh, okay, here we go again. Now I'm going to do something. I'm going to go through each job role, and I want you to, at some point, pause the video and let me know in the comments if you can guess the overall message of the video in terms of what specifically I am going for in terms of this advice. So we'll go through a few of them, but if it clicks, let me know and you can see if you are right towards the end. So these are things that are negatives on your portfolio for a specific reason. And if you have that specific reason in mind, let me know in the comments as I go through. So let's do characters. You're a character artist, okay? Let's say Viking. All right. Digital 3D, yeah, for real time. Okay. I'm not going to tell you why. You can tell me in the comments and I'll tell you at the end and we'll see. So, character artist Viking. Weapon artist. AK-47. Okay. Environment artist. Sci-fi corridor. All right. If you get what I'm going for, let me know in the comments. What other roles are there? God. Yeah, that's a tough one. It will come to me, but let's do lighting artist. All right. Which is a fairly niche role, but let's do lighting artist. Now, let me know at some point what the main point of this advice is going to be. And I'll wait a second and see if you get it. So, I think that's all right. Character artist, environment artist, material artist. Okay, material artist. Yeah, I can't forget. Maybe just brick wall. I'm not too good with material names. Yeah, brick wall. Vehicle artist. I'm not too knowledgeable about vehicles, so maybe not vehicle artist. But yeah, what is the point? Well, the point is, if you have guessed it, there are niches in portfolios that have existed since the start of time, and they still ring true to this day. And sometimes they do transition into different topics. However, the topics in this video that we've just covered are pretty relevant and still good as a general point of view. So what is the point that I'm trying to get across? The point is, there are pieces within your specialism that if you do, and if you do them good, it doesn't really matter because they've been done many, many times. And when people see them in portfolios, when they're reviewing portfolios, it's almost like an eye roll moment when they see this sort of stuff. So if I take lighting, for example, the images speak for themselves. The very lovely subway car, which is great. I think it's free as well, I believe. But it's been done many times. If you like the subway as a new piece, it doesn't matter how good you do it. It doesn't matter how you spin it, because every single variation that you can imagine has been done. So when we see it, it's unfortunate because you've probably done a really good job on it, right? So you've probably done a really good job on it. The problem is we've seen it so many times before. So even though it's a good job, it's like, you're already starting off on a negative. It's not very unique. And as we go through the difficult and continue to go through the difficult times in the games industry, many people looking for jobs, many people making the same type of environments or lighting, you've got to try and stand out with your portfolio selection. So ArtStation does not lie in this regard. We'll go for weapons, right? AK-47. Been done to hell, has popular tutorials out for it. There's that one chap that runs the hard surface community, Chamfer Zone, AK tutorial. Same with the radio, military radio. There are things that are popularized by either tutorials or other people, so that when you do these, you're always going to be compared to the originals and the masters that did it. What did we say for environments? Sci-fi corridor. This one has been the classic meme since I was beginning, 10 years ago. Sci-fi corridors, repetitive patterns, really fun and juicy to do, but again, done to hell. Done so many times. So even if it's good, it's going to be undermined by the fact that somebody is most likely going to look at it and say, oh, it's just a sci-fi corridor. So, what are some ways you can tackle this? Avoid the top, should you avoid doing sci-fi? No, of course not. Sci-fi is cool. Just don't pick a corridor. Pick something that has a different shape to it, something that has a lot of, something that breaks up the minutia of it just being a typical box with some cool patterns on. You can find a lot of concepts out there of areas that they don't look like corridors with just cool sci-fi panels on. As cool as they look, they're unfortunately plagued by this very similar issue that a lot of things have. So you can always find some sort of concept of sci-fi that maybe it's a hangar bay instead, or maybe a bridge for for something. So yeah, you can do these if you want, but just know that they're not very unique. They've been done a lot of times, and it's something that we all struggle with, especially as lighting artists, right? So if I type in bizarre relight, now it's not as popular as the subway car, probably because you have to buy the pack, which unfortunately or fortunately, depends how you look at it, it does gate some stuff. But even the bizarre, so that's mine, there's starting to be quite a few of them. So this is especially difficult with lighting when you are, unless you make your own environments or you set dress stuff completely from fresh, you can eventually get into danger territory. Now, there aren't enough of these to really warrant that issue with this, but it is starting to occur in areas. So, for example, with the CGMA course, I believe for a while they used a lot of the same environments where it's the I can never remember the name, but it's like the Witcher looking huts. This one is starting to get into the territory. Yeah, these ones with this sort of house, I think here. Some of them maybe, like these ones. That slowly that is starting to get to the state of the. I need to find the proper name for it, to be honest. But that I'm seeing that a lot, and it is a very big issue with lighting art. In that eventually you're going to keep seeing it, and you're going to get to the subway tunnel relight where it's like we've seen it so many times. So got to be careful on that. But on the other areas where you make stuff from scratch, there are things that you will invest your time in. So if we say the AK-47, you can make the best AK-47 ever, but it's probably not the most, again, been done so many times, lots of variations done of it. it's not going to be the most juicy thing, even if it's done well, in my opinion. So choosing what you want to make for your portfolio is also a very good strategy for if you can effectively get through the interview or job phase. And you've got to remember, at the end of the day, there are hundreds of people, especially if you're a big, well-known studio, hundreds and hundreds of people applying for 1 or 2 spots in a studio for a weapon artist or a lighting artist or environment artist, a character artist. And some of those roles are rarer than others, like character art, and is much, much rarer than environment art. Vehicle art is much, much rarer, in my opinion, than weapon art. So there are not many jobs out there for the studios that are recruiting. So anything you can do to really put yourself above the pack when you are getting reviewed will help you dearly. So I think as well, maybe like the M4 carbine. This one's been done, quite a few times as well. Oh yeah, I get it. They're cool. They're fun to make, but there are better choices out there and more unique choices for every one that you want to make. So do have that in mind when you start to formulate your portfolio, because the things that you make will also dictate how competitive you are, because there are a lot of people now looking for jobs. There's been a lot of layoffs in the industry as of late, but there's also a lot of students graduating, then maybe a lot of people changing jobs, and they're all mixing together into this pool of candidates that are looking for jobs. So yes, very competitive, but you do need to redefine, well, we all need to redefine our strategy for how we how we make characters, how we make environments, and make things that are quite unique and not really out there too much. So yeah, those are some of the common ones. If you work around those and find cool ways to make those unique, that'd be really good. But do bear in mind, these things do get seen quite a lot. They're very common to make, and you don't want to blend into the default state of what people are seeing when they're hiring day and day, going through hundreds of apps. Yeah, seeing as, oh, it's another one of these. Oh, it's another one of these. And it's another one of these. You want to try and, curate your portfolio in a unique way. So do some research on ArtStation, see what's out there. Look at fellow graduates or fellow mid-levels that you would be competing against for a job. Look at current employees that are employed at the place you want to work, and look at their portfolios as well. So there's lots of strategies to this. This is just one of many. But yeah, I think those are the things I would avoid. If you have any questions or any you want to expand on anything I've said that I might have missed, let me know in the comments. But other than that, good luck on your portfolio grind, and I wish you the best of luck. Peace.